So look, you already know that you can make money as a medical courier delivering medical supplies, prescriptions, lab specimens right out of your personal car. We already know that. If you didn't know, I'll recap in a second, or you can check out some of my other videos. But the question of the day is, and I get this all the time, this is probably number one question, maybe number two. But the question I get is, do I need an LLC to do this? Do I have to have some sort of business entity? Should I have some sort of business entity set up to do this? And we're gonna talk about it today, but first let's get some business out the way. I'm Alton Arrell, favorite side hustle guy. That's what I want you to do. Pause for a second, hit that like button, hit that follow, subscribe button, share this video with somebody who might get something from this. I appreciate it, greatly helps the community. But let's get into this today. I wanna get right into it. First, I'm gonna answer the question of, do you need an LLC to do this? Short answer is no, you don't need an LLC to do this. In fact, when I started out doing this, I just did it under my personal name. I didn't even know there was a different way. I didn't know that you could have an LLC to do it. So I started doing it in my personal name. I'd fill out the application, say like at a drop off or a lab logistics, and I just started filling it out. My name, my social, my address, perfectly fine. I was doing well into the six figures doing it that way. So to answer your question, yes, you can do this in your personal name. No, you don't have to have an LLC or some sort of business entity. You're gonna hear me say LLC a lot. Obviously, that's not the only business entity. If there's any tax folks, why don't you comment and tell me maybe if there's a better way to do it. But you get a lot of LLCs. You see that a lot. So when you hear me say LLC, I just mean business entity. Of course, you can do this as a corporation. You could do this as a sole proprietorship. You could do this as a limited partnership. But when you hear me say LLC, just know that that's not the only business entity that you can use, okay? So I answered that. No, you don't have to have an LLC. And yes, you can just simply do this in your personal name, okay? But what I wanna do is I wanna go into some reasons or some benefits to doing it as an LLC. And I'll kind of tell my experience. Like I said, at first, I was doing it as in my personal name. Come tax time, it got a little messy. And here's why. Because I didn't have a business entity, when I got my 1099s at the end of the year, I had to just file them in my personal name. You gotta file, you can't just not pay taxes, right? So I had to file it under my personal name. But the tricky part was I didn't get to take advantage of a lot of the benefits that doing it under a business entity gives you, right? I couldn't write off a lot of things in the name of a business. So I just had to take it to the chin, right? I had to take it. I had to pay the taxes when I probably could have saved a ton, not probably, I know I could have saved a lot of money. So one of the benefits is taxation. We'll kind of start there. There's tax benefits to doing it under an LLC. So when you come into this, hopefully you watch my videos, you understand how to get into this, you do it and you're successful. I trust that you will be. You're gonna have to pay taxes. And one of the things that you're gonna want is ways to eliminate having to pay as much taxes. Because in a 1099, if you've done 1099 stuff, you know, there's no taxes being taken out. It's not like when you work a job and they say, okay, you made $1,000, we're gonna take out for Uncle Sam, boom, you get $797. No, you get $1,000. So Uncle Sam is gonna try to tax you on that whole 1,000, but the trick is you want some ways to write things off. And when you have a business, you can write stuff off like the vehicle you use, the gas, the maintenance on that vehicle. You can write off office space in your home. You can write, there's a whole list. Again, I'm not a tax advisor, and don't misconstrue any of this as tax advice, but there's so many ways that you can benefit from having that sort of entity. Another one is liability. You guys know this, right? I'm not gonna even insult your intelligence. You know that when you have an LLC, you separate yourself, right, from the business. So if something happens, God forbid, and just think you're dealing with HIPAA laws, you're dealing with folks, prescription medications and all this stuff, right? So there is potential for liability. Well, if something should happen, God forbid, and you get sued, do you want to be sued personally, or do you want to be able to sue the business and keep that separation, right? So that's one of the benefits right there is liability protection. I talked about it, protection of personal assets. And I'm looking down at my notes, folks. I don't even know if this is what you're supposed to do in the YouTube world, but we don't care, right? You're getting this information, I'm gonna give it to you. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So you get protection from your personal assets, right? I knew a guy, he had a big fleet. He had a big route. Something happened. I don't know the details, but it was a lawsuit. But he had an LLC, so he could, and it was a big lawsuit. Took his business down, but he was able to just kind of, hey, they sued the business. None of his personal assets were in question. none of his personal assets. So that's one of the benefits of having an LLC. You get increased security. We talked about the tax flexibility and benefits that it provides. It's a pass-through entity, right? So you make money as the business, right? They pay the LLC, but the profits flow through to you as an individual. So there's no double taxation like with big corporations, right? Corporation gets taxed, corporation pays individual pays taxes. So it's passed through. So that's one of the benefits there, is that you only get taxed once on it. All right. Another big one that I've come across too is professionalism. When you have an LLC, to these companies that you get set up with, you're gonna look professional, right? You're gonna look very professional to them, because when they see that LLC behind the name, when they see that email that you send them, that's info@mycourierbusiness.com. There's a level of professionalism, and I can't tell you how many contracts I feel that I've gotten because I had all my ducks in a row, because I had the business entity set up, I had the professional email, I had all that good stuff plugged up, right? So that's one of the benefits of having it. In fact, some companies, maybe you guys have seen this, chime in if you have a list of companies that require it. There's some companies that require it. When I first started doing this right out of COVID, a lot of it was just kind of the wild, wild west. And you just did it in your personal name. Now, a lot of these companies are requiring that you have a business entity. They won't do business with an individual, right? I think it was Drop Off or something like that. Somebody just recently told me about it. I've been with them for a while and I've already had an LLC, so I didn't notice the change, but they said, no, you have to have an LLC now to get set up with them. So professionalism, credibility, it looks good to have an LLC when you do this, right? Trust, people tend to trust you more when you have a business entity. And it's not just, yeah, I'm Tyrone, or hey, I'm Stephanie, I'm doing this. No, I'm with mybestcouriers.com, My Best Couriers LLC. So there's a lot of trust and that sort of thing that comes along with it. Partnerships. So I've done some contracts. You guys know we've done some government contracts that I've received, and I couldn't have done it if I didn't have the business entity set up. Because when you get the legal piece involved, you have to have those sort of entities set up. So if you're thinking big like I was when you're coming into this, you ultimately want to have partnerships. You want to get big contracts. You want to get government contracts. A lot of these government contracts you don't get necessarily yourself. It's a joint venture. So you got to have these things in place. All right. But I think you guys get it. I just wanted to jump on because that was one of the big questions that I get a lot. It's like, Alta, do I have to have an LLC? So hopefully I did a good job of answering that for you. No, you don't have to have an LLC, but if you're asking me if you should, I absolutely think you should. So hopefully you guys are having success out there. I said I'd recap. So real quick, before I let you go, I want to recap for the folks that are just watching this for the first time. They're saying, what is a medical courier? How do I do it? Like I said, we're delivering prescriptions, lab specimens right out of our car. I've got a Toyota Avalon, just to show you. And I'll tell you that just to show you that it doesn't have to be a special type of car, okay? You do this out of the car you got. I don't care, you got a Honda Accord, a Nissan, a Toyota, whatever it is, you can do it out of that. And we get with these companies, the drop-offs, the lab logistics. And what I can do is I can leave a resource in the comments for you, or in the bio. And you get with these companies and they give you these routes. Lab logistics, dropoff.com, Freight, FRAYT.com is one that I use a lot. You go to these websites and you just apply and you get these contracts in your area, and they pay you to take it from point A to point B. And it's really, really good money. It's really good money. It's a good side hustle. It's a good main hustle if somebody's looking to do that. But that's kind of what we're talking about if you're just joining. But again, follow, subscribe. We'll be talking more and more about this. And as I get these ideas, I'll just jump on. You can see my style is a little bit different than a lot of folks here on YouTube. I just turn the mic on with some notes and get going. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that. It's not highly done up and all that stuff, but I'm gonna get you the information, all right? But that's it. I'm Alton Arell, your favorite side hustle guy. Hopefully you got something out of this. Do me a favor, engage with me. Let me know if you got something out of this. Let me know if there's something else you want me to talk about, and we'll keep banging out these videos. But Alton Arell here, your favorite side hustle guy. Check the link in the bio, in the resource. We put together a bundle for you. It's just $97. Gives you your HIPAA, your Bloodborne Pathogen certification. Those are 2 certifications you need to start doing this. We give you some other resources like 75 apps and websites, companies that you go to that give you these pan routes. I give you my resources in there. What else is in there? Resume templates. We give you business documents and all that good stuff. So check that resource out. It's normally $197, but through the link in the description, it's only $97. So we give you the $100 off. So you don't have an excuse to do this, you know? All right, but that's it. Let me get out of here. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Take care.